So we need to know why was I harmed in the past? And why did I harm others? These are the questions that we need to answer, isn't it? Because what we need to do is that we need to make sense of our suffering, don't we? If we can't make sense of it, then we're going to continue to think about it until we can make sense of it, until what I mean by making sense of it is meaning coming to terms with it, accepting it. In a way, realizing that things couldn't have been in any other way, and forgiving others and forgiving ourselves for what happened. That's how we heal the past. So in the past, why were we harmed by others? Why have we been mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally abused? The simple answer to this question, in fact, the answer to all our suffering, the answer to the question, why do we suffer? There's one simple answer that Buddha gives us. And this simplicity is fantastic because when things are simple, they're easy to understand. You know, the Buddha said, gather all blame into one. So we need to gather all our blame into one single source of pain and suffering. And the word that Buddha used for this source of suffering is, he called it delusion. Delusions. Delusions are the source of all our suffering. So your partner is not the source of all your suffering. Your job is not the source of all your suffering. Your boss is not the cause of all your suffering. Your family is not the source of all your suffering. You know, there are many things that we can attribute to the causes of suffering, but we'd be wrong about all of them. When we have wisdom, when we follow the Buddha's teaching, and we look at things with eyes of wisdom instead of eyes of confusion, we see that delusions are the source of all our suffering. So what are delusions? They are confused and negative states of mind. And these delusions are by nature unpeaceful. And they make our mind uncontrolled, turbulent, confused, and unhappy. So when we develop a delusion, whatever mental peace we had is instantly destroyed. And our mind becomes agitated and unhappy. So if you look in your mind and you see some painful or unpleasant feelings, those unpleasant and painful feelings have come from delusion. In that moment, you are suffering from delusion. And delusion is something that's inside. It's not outside. Even if we feel that other people are triggering our delusions. You know, we say that sometimes, don't we? Like, oh, you know what? He really pushes my buttons. What we're saying there is, this person, the way I regard this person, the way I think about them, and the way I interact with them, stimulates my delusions. So if we had no delusions, we'd have no buttons. And people could say and do anything and it would never disturb our mind. You know, that disturbance is coming from inside, it's not coming from outside. So if we watch our mind, we can see these delusions arising continuously within our mind because, you know, when we look at our mind, most of the time it's disturbed, it's agitated, it's restless, That restlessness of the mind is a lack of peace. And that lack of peace is caused by delusion.